All right, so we have a visual presentation that Rono's going to pull up in a second. And the first thing we want to share with you is what is new for next year's programming, the theme, and all of that really good stuff. And everything that we're going to share with you throughout this entire call, I want to say that has been from years of learning, years of experimenting in this thing we call Eden World and the sanctuary. Along the way, we have learned a few things, we've messed up a few things, which is always a learning. We've grown, we've tried things, we had a pandemic in the middle of it all. We went from live events, mostly all live events, to virtual events, and then back to live events. And so we've grown to over 100 couples in the membership. We've shrunk to under couples in the membership. Hopefully we'll be growing back. And there's so much learning and growth that has come from that. And so all of what you're going to be hearing today is a result of that learning, is a result of also all the feed forwards that many of you have filled out after every event for the last several years, and what we've learned in the design team, what we've learned in the sovereign containers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we put a lot of thought and heart and time and attention on what we're creating, and we're very excited. We think it's going to hit a lot more spots than maybe we've hit in the past, and we're going to give it a try. So the first and foremost thing we're very excited is the theme. We give you a quick teaser of it at the end of Generosity and Grace. Rana, why don't you just pull it up? And the theme for next year, this past year was Renaissance of Love. And in 2023, the theme is Love Stories Revisited. We're already putting the soundtrack together for it. So many great love songs out there, right? So the idea behind Love Stories Revisited is that, you know, all of us have our own love story. We have stories of how we relate to love, what we've been taught about love, how we've learned to love, how we haven't loved so well, and what the love of our lives are currently in the relationship you have, which is hopefully the current love of your life, because you're here in Eden doing the work with that beloved. And we want to not just examine, actually, we're hoping to not examine too much of where the stories have been, just long enough to feel into, okay, this is a story that needs to be revisited. This is a story that I'd like to retell. So all of next year, and we're going to share exactly how it's going to be laid out. The whole idea is that we've taken 5 chapters from the Book of Love, the Eden Book of Love, that we feel are probably the most elemental aspects of what can make your relationship foundation really strong and really potent, and maybe a little wobbly at times if you have an old story or 2 or 10 that you're telling. And how do we revisit them from a place of creating a new lens, a new vision, a new story? Maybe it'll be a completely new story. Maybe it'll be just a little tweak of a story. But the entire year is going to be a journey of visiting each of these chapters and finding new perspectives in which to literally begin to tell or create or craft or write a new story. And you want to add, love?
That I've noticed a few errors in the slide that I need to update, but other than that,
she don't point it out.
No, I think you're doing wonderfully. One of the things that we went over this past year, we looked at the limbs of yoga, and one of the things that we're constantly doing is overlapping as much ancient texts and philosophies and ways of being that have been like tried and true, like even true north, south, east, west. Like we know where to go because of how a compass works. and the 5 elements of, from Eastern cultures, and what are they about and how do they work. And so there's a lot that went into this, that from the front, it's just like, ooh, that's fun, money and abundance. What are we going to talk about there? Or, death and loss, or like, ooh, wonder what that is. But we're looking at the different elements and where the biggest challenges lie in relationship, and how we can overcome them by rewriting our story. So that's one of the main areas here. So I'm going to go to the next slide here.
Beautiful.
So this is actually the most up to date, and the flow. Is this all right if I keep going on this? Mm-hmm. So how this year is going to work, and what's really, really exciting about it, is that many of you in your feedback and in conversations that we've had have asked for a little bit more curriculum based, so that it's not just like ooh, here's a theme, sex. Okay, let's talk about sex, or let's learn about sex, or let's learn about this. And what we're going to do is right before February 11th, in February, you're going to get an email. And in that email, you're going to get a printout, so that you can print out a PDF. And we're going to encourage you to get a 3-ring binder. And you're going to have you're going to have this that you can,
just for you, Marianne and Joel.
Yeah, you can print it out and put this on the cover, and we'll make it grayscale, so that way you don't have to print it in color. And you don't have to, if you're not into printing things out, that's fine too. You can just look at it.
You can put it on your iPad or your.
Yep, you can do it that way too.
It's Kindle friendly, but
we'll see how we can make it digital friendly too for those folks. But there'll be like some pre-work, some ways to get in and get ready for the February salon, where we're going to be diving deeper into how to create a partnership with one another. Do we want to go into some specifics here, or you tell me like how?
Yeah, go ahead.
So like we're going to
start with the themes and then talk about how it's
back.
going to be broken down.
Okay. Well, I was just going to kind of kick it off. So, right. And then I'll go over the theme. So basically, we'll give you handouts, printouts to put in your binder. So every month you'll have a few more printouts. You'll have places to journal. You'll have places to put things in, your notes, and literally by the end of the year, you will have a book, Your Love Stories, retold, rewritten around some of the biggest challenges in life. Did you know that the number 1 and number 2 reasons why people get divorced is around sex and money? Well, what if we had a whole new story around sex and money that really like allowed you to move through any shame that you had, or if there's trauma or fear of even being intimate with your partner, or fear of being wealthy, or fear of
something that you haven't been able to say clearly to your beloved that would make the world of difference to the both of you in those areas.
So you'll have a whole book that you'll be able to come back to year after year, look at it, share with each other, have pictures, like all the different kinds of things, a whole rewritten story, a whole new love story, your love story. And so in February and March, we're going to dive into like how to file off the edges of friction to start your year off right, with systems and ways that you can engage in your partnership that lower the friction, increase the lift and lower the drag. So that way your relationship can soar and it can really go where it wants to be. So February, we're going to be more in the salon, which is like communication tools, learning actual physical things that are super, super helpful. And then leading into the March Epic, and you'll notice here that Epic has got some acronyms after it. And we'll share with you, I don't have it in front of me right now, but we'll make sure that you know specifically what an Epic is for. But I think it's like erotic, playful, intentional,
playful, intimacy,
intentional creation.
Yeah, intentional creation. Yeah.
And so it's a specific format that Sierra and I have used for many, many years. It's how Eden came to be, our version of an epic. And many, many people here practice epics now. And we're going to go through and teach it to you very specifically in this first one. We've not really done it before in this format of all the different ways that you can use an epic. And then each time we come back to an epic, it's like another salon, but it's focused on your intimacy versus just like communication or connection or things like that. So the salon is much more like learning and like we've done a lot of things, and the epics are more focused on intimacy. It's kind of like the boardroom and the bedroom.
Yes.
Like the salons are the boardroom,
The boardroom
your
of your
relationship,
relationship, yeah.
and the epics are the bedroom.
Yeah.
So
And-
purposeful.
And well, before you go on, I just, for those of you that didn't catch this before, or not catching, or just catching it now, we are now separating where the weekends used to be learning parties in the morning, epic experiences in the evening, and it was all on the same weekend. And what we're doing now is we're actually parceling them out. So it's a 2-month journey where 1 month we're doing the salon/learning party, learning, the boardroom, and then the next month we're gonna take it into the bedroom.
Yeah, and what's really cool too about this new format, and it's similar, it's like a mix of 2 years ago and this past year, is that between February and March, we're going to be dripping content, dripping extra things to you from experts, from other people in the community, from any of you that are like, oh my God, I have this great tool on prosperity, or I've got this great communication breakthrough technique thing that I want to share. So we'll be sharing more content throughout. So that way, the biggest thing that we heard from all of you is like, we feel like we're not as connected as we could be because of there's 2 months. It's like so much time between everything. So this is going to help us be more connected with one another, make it not so, oh my God, I got to save this whole weekend for this whole thing for Eden. And oh my God, let's just not go. This way, it's like, hey, all you got to do is reserve from 12 to 3 Pacific on a Saturday and you're good to go. And so
for all of the
both.
salons and all of the epics on this entire page and this entire schedule for this entire year.
Yeah, and that makes me realize I'm going to add in a slide of what a Saturday schedule will look like. And so I'll make sure I add that in before we send it out to you all. What's also really cool, and we'll talk about this a little bit later with George and Tracy, is that after every salon and after every epic, we're going to do a heart seat. So heart seats just went from 6 of them to 10 of them. Yay. And so we got more heart seat, more opportunity to connect, more time to get support and things like that. So I'm going to continue through this right now. So we've got, can you see my mouse when I move it?
Yep.
Yeah, cool. All right. So lifestyle optimization, that's like the overarching theme. And we're calling it purposeful partnership because it's really about when you're intentional, purposeful, specific with how you're running your relationship. You have time for everything, whether you have kids, whether you run a business, whatever it is. If you're purposeful in how you do it, you're going to be able to optimize how your lifestyle is and have all the things that you want. Have time for sex, have time for connection, have time for vacations, have time to be with one another, have time with the kids. But you got to be purposeful or it just takes over your life. Can anyone relate to that one? I know that's a working one for us. No, I can't relate at all. Cool. In April, just in time for tax season, just after tax season, we're going to get into the Prosperity Playmates. And this is where
Prosperity Playmates.
Can you pull up what we wrote the other day in the design team? We're super excited about this. And the salon, we're going to be just search design team.
Okay, go ahead. You're gonna have to speak. I'm going to take a second to look.
That's fine. So in this whole money and abundance chapter, we're going to have several months to really dive into. Now, we were on the design team meeting last night, and we're all like, well, we can't like help them with financial planning, or like who are we to like, you know, like that's not okay to do that. But what we can help you do is really get aligned with your vision, your values, and the velocity in which you want to create your future together. And we can help you get aligned around the different money and abundance aspects that are universal and super helpful and supportive for you to have alignment in your relationship. Because if people are getting blown out or getting in fights because they're like, well, I don't understand why you have to spend all this money on this. Or why are you so stingy with your money? Or, you know, if we just had a shared account, or if we didn't share our account, like all those kinds of things, if you have the same vision and values around your money, it would make a big difference. And what's cool is from the salon to the epic, again, we're going to be adding in experts. We're going to be connecting with people in the community that are very wealthy, you know, millionaires and beyond. And well, how do you guys do money? We'll do panels, we'll connect with different people. So there'll be lots of different ways that you can connect outside of the weekends, connect with one another. And then of course, in the epic, guess what we're going to do is I'm pushing for the
We're going into the bedroom.
sex money magic ritual, baby. So let's get that going on. Let's get those $100 bills, like however it is, we'll have some fun in the bedroom. All right. So
at whatever level you're comfortable.
Whatever level you're comfortable. It's all about consent for yourself. You got to consent with yourself first before you can even engage with anything else. So where are you at? Where do you want to be? Always, 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 always.
Yeah.
All right. Next, communication breakthrough. Oh my goodness. This is kind of what we've been doing the whole time. But how can we actually have connected conversations? How can we connect with our hearts? How can we continue to improve the way I saw a lot in the chat that, oh my God, you want to improve the way your communication is. You want to do this, you want to do that. So this is all about that. And then what about in the bedroom? I know for me, I still suck at asking for what I want in the bedroom. I'm so like, oh, I don't know. Can you touch me here? Like, it's still so challenging. So we're going to go into ways that we can make that easier, fun games and things like that we can play. All right. So sexuality, not sex, but sexuality and intimacy. Now, this one is a huge one. And all of us on the design team yesterday were like very moved when we changed it from sex and intimacy to sexuality and intimacy. And this is the one that I really wanted to read because I don't want to mess it up. It's super, super important.
All right. Communication breakthrough. There we go.
There it is. Okay. So the big difference here is it's about knowing yourself beyond the stories of sexuality and identity. So what this is like, can you give yourself permission to explore your sexual desires and the things that don't fit into the role that you were assigned or that you've been given? For example, I am a heterosexual male and I have sex by putting my penis in her vagina, and that's how I have sex. Okay, great, cool. That's the role that I was assigned, right? But what about all the other things? Can I let go, or can I move into, or can I look at, or can I explore? I'm like, oh, I can't hug my guy friends. No, that's not for me. Like, oh, can I hug my guy friends? You're not my guy friend, but I'll just pretend. Oh yeah,
hey, bro.
It's like what is that? How can we remove some of the roles that we've been assigned and really look at our sexuality from, hey, I'm in a committed partnership with my wife, and whatever we want to do, as long as it's consensual, let's have some fun. Whatever it is. But we're going to dive deep into that. And
I just want to say this a little bit because Will, our beautiful Will, who's here, who's on the design team, he brought this forth, which really helped inspire it. Is sexuality is about your sexual feelings, thoughts, attractions, and behaviors towards other people. So it's not about who you have sex with or how often you have it. It's about, again, your sexual feelings, thoughts, attractions, and behaviors towards other people. So it's a bit of a twist and a deepening around how we have perceived or engaged or connected or been turned off by this whole idea of sexuality. So we're basically going to flip the script in maybe on its head completely, but we're going to revisit it and we're definitely going to rewrite it.
For sure. At whatever level you're at, it's all good. Everybody with us so far? Is this good? We're getting along. Are you excited? I'm excited.
Excited. Please feel free to, we'll have time for comments in a second, but feel free to share your excitement or questions in the chat as we go.
And then obviously the epic is going to be pretty epic. And then this is a big one. So one of the things that has been so beautiful in the last couple of years is the amount of elders that are in our community. And when I say elders, I mean wise sages that have life experience and that are here to guide us and teach us. And our elders here are so generous with their wisdom, their knowledge, their time, their understanding. I'm so grateful for them. And what that means from one angle of death and letting go is that potentially the runway of their life is shorter than perhaps mine. That may not be true. There's lots of things that can happen, but just in the regular course of life. So that's one aspect that we're looking at of death, or we've had people that have lost their children in this community. We've had all sorts of different aspects of death. Like we just lost a friend who was walking their dog and she got hit by a car, just super tragic. And the letting go process, also letting go of old love, Maybe some of us are still in relationships and still thinking about that ex-girlfriend or that ex-boyfriend. And we're still in that, there's still a connection there, and we're not able to fully let go and embrace the nowness. So this whole part, November and December, getting into Thanksgiving, getting into this time of year, we're going to learn and rewrite the story so that we actually can love loss. We can lean in and love
love ourselves and love each other with loss, through loss, alongside of loss.
Yeah. So I could go on and on and on. There's so much in here. There's so much richness, juiciness, deepness, depth, everything, but we're super
and I want,
excited.
as you're listening to this, if you have some sort of tool or expertise or knowledge or wisdom that you would like to share, we're going to be putting together, we're in the process of putting together a committee that's going to be reaching out to the community to bring some of those thoughts, tips, tools, talents, poems, songs, teachings, wisdom, whatever it is, and infuse them into these themes. So we're going to let you know more about that, but I want you to be thinking, if you're like, oh my gosh, I have a great transmission for that theme, or wow, me and my beloved have really sorted this one out, and I wonder if that would be a good tool to contribute. Please write it down and let us know, and we'll be reaching out for a specific way to submit that so that you can contribute and be part of these conversations beyond just receiving, what we're teaching.
And we will be sending stuff out too in the beginning of next year and every month to say, hey, this is what's coming up. Anybody in here? We're working with some new members of the design team to take on the role of community outreach, to be like, hey, who's got something here that we can share?
Yeah.
Can you find the format of the weekend? Okay, so in this PDF too, there's a little finger there that says sync your calendar. And you can do this in Mighty Networks, and I'll show you later when we show you the new version of Mighty Networks that just came out about a week and a half ago, and we've totally redone Mighty Networks. So you may not have been in there, but we're going to show you that a little later on in this call. And we're super excited to announce a couple of things that I'll do in a little bit. But also in this PDF, you can click this link, and it's so helpful to just sync your calendar. It walks you through a few steps. It's really important that you sync the entire calendar, not just one date. And then you never have to worry about an event. It'll just be on your calendar. You can toggle it on and off. It's just there. You can always access everything. It's just super, super, super simple. So I won't spend too much time on that. But
yeah, I don't want you to don't go too far on that, but
on this?
Yeah. All right.
Okay, cool. All right. We already talked about hard seats, but why don't we talk about hard seats some more?
Yeah. So is everybody clear that we're spreading things out a little bit more? So again, we're doing 1 month. We're going to have the learning party, but we're calling it a salon. We're going to have the hard seats after, which we'll talk about in a second. And then the next month, same time, we're going to do an epic, which again will be a teaching and exploration. And then you can do your own date night, should you choose, later that night or at another time. But everything's going to be separated now. And we're super excited about that.
Separated time-wise, but super together in how
yeah, exactly. It's going to be 2 month increments of deep dives for bedroom, boardroom, bedroom. Good? Yeah. Awesome. Cool.